Hello and welcome to COVID-19 Local Impact. I'm Dan Malta from the Your TV Peterborough studios. For 2 straight days, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Peterborough County remained steady at 28. Not the case today, as the total jumped to 38. Here's Dr. Rosanna Salvatera with details from the address at the Peterborough Public Health Unit earlier today.
I'll just go over the situational update. So I am reporting our data as was submitted to the Ministry of Health yesterday at 4 p.m. And we have an increase of 10 additional cases. So we are now standing at 38 confirmed cases, of which 5 of the cases are resolved. In addition, we have a total of 820 people in Peterborough City and County who were tested. 491 of those have been confirmed as negative, and 291 remain under investigation. I did mention that we won't be testing today because we are running one of our clinics all day in the space, but we do have people booked for tomorrow, and we tested 6 yesterday. We have 4 people booked so far for tomorrow. And I did share with the media here in the room that although we have no new outbreaks in long-term care facilities to report, we now have concluded that the outbreak, the COVID-19 outbreak at St. Joseph's at Fleming's is community transmission. We were not able to find a link with either a known case or with someone who has traveled. That outbreak, we've had 1 additional positive case confirmed there in a resident. So we have 2 residents and 1 employee who have tested positive. No hospitalizations in that outbreak. And we are still awaiting results in a few others who have been tested. And then I just reminded everyone that we are testing all residents as per direction from the province, as well as all healthcare workers who become symptomatic. And I was just going to conclude to say that we are pretty good when it comes to swabs. We have over 300 swabs on site. And I will now turn it back to Brittany for further comments.
At this point, the first round of the OHL playoffs would have been nearing completion, and the 20 teams in the league would have been planning press conferences and board meetings for the OHL priority selection on Saturday. The draft will go on as planned, but it will be conducted entirely remotely. The Peterborough Petes organization and league office say they're prepared for the technical challenge.
Some great work by our comms people and technical people. I think as a matter of interest, Erie, Flint, and Saginaw will be conducting their respective priority selections from spots in Ontario, and that helps, in some respects as we work through a number of guidelines and adherence to the process and policies that we've established. So the one thing I've seen here is that our teams have come together and we're working together with the league for the league as a whole.
OHL Commissioner David Branch realizes players and teams will miss out on the experience of the draft, but still believes Saturday will be a positive distraction for all involved.
When you consider about the game of life, it is so much more important, and any shortcomings pales in comparison. So we're making the best of a challenging situation. We hope that our priority selection process being conducted when it is will serve as a bit of a step in a positive direction and distract certainly a lot of people from their normal day.
Branch says Saturday's draft is the start of a healing process through the power of sport as fans, players, and teams can begin to look ahead to next season.
We view that this is an opportunity for us to utilize what we all refer to as the power of sport to help communities heal, bring communities back together. We're so powerful in our respective centers, and we think we have a significant role to play when we start to look and commence next year.
Draft preparations are well underway for the Peterborough Petes, and normally the team's scouting staff would operate in the alumni room at the Peterborough Memorial Center on Selection Day. The group, led by GM Mike Oak, has made adjustments, including some remote mock drafts throughout the week.
It takes a little bit. I mean, obviously, everybody is a little different as far as their capabilities on the technology side. So we've been working away with the scouts. Some of them maybe aren't as computer savvy as others. So that's a bit of a challenge, but we've been able to make it work to this point. We've got a couple of test runs that we'll do ahead of Saturday so that we're prepared and we know exactly where we are as far as communicating as a scouting staff with so many of the guys being remote. And so that come draft day, I'm very confident we'll have a very strong list. And I'm very confident, as we have in the past, when we're all gathered in one room, we'll be able to have some good discussion to talk about, who would be the best fit when it comes time to make our selection.
The standard time allotment of 5 minutes per pick in the first 3 rounds and 3 minutes per pick for the remainder of the draft will still apply, but the league's 20 teams are aware there may be some exceptions.
Certainly the league and member teams realize and understand, and in certain situations there may be some technical glitches, and everybody's agreed that we'll be patient and work through those. We've got a chain of communication in those type of situations to let those that need to know we're having a technical issue be advised, and we'll make adjustments as we go. But the time frame to make the picks is going to remain the same. And we'll just work with one another, and again, you hope for the best, but you got to also plan for the worst. And so we'll make sure that as best we can, we're prepared if there's any interruption. And I know that the league and the other teams are making the same.
Another concern for the Petes is a quality internet connection, so Mike Oak will be setting up in a hotel boardroom with the draft computer, and the team has contingencies in place should anything go wrong. Draft picks will be interviewed throughout the day, and the Petes will make those clips available to fans as they come. Now from North Bay News, reporter Clark Heupel talks with MPP Ross Romano, Ontario's Minister of Colleges and Universities, about student loan payments, online learning, and ensuring that exams done online have no way of being compromised.
We recognized from a very early juncture the importance of making sure that our graduates that are presently repaying OSAP loans, or those who were just about to graduate and would have to pay back their loans, we wanted to make sure that they had some assurance, some comfort going into this process that we would be able to secure a deferral of their loans. We recognize the challenge that so many of our recent graduates face at the present time in the wake of this crisis, the economic uncertainty surrounding it. We wanted to give them some certainty that at a minimum they would not have to worry about the cost of their student loans. So this is giving them 6 months, no interest, no payments, no collections, gives them a break for a period of 6 months as we try to continue to navigate through these difficult waters.
Also announced earlier this afternoon a finalization of an agreement with eCampus Ontario. What's this program and how will it help students graduate?
We recognized from several weeks ago that we were going to have to start moving into digital online education at the post-secondary level, given the need to limit in-class learning and promote social distancing. And so we recognized, while so many of our institutions, and there are a couple of exceptions, but so many of our institutions were in a position to transfer to digital online courses, but one thing that they were not capable of doing without retaining services independently at significant cost to the said institutions was the element of proctoring of examinations and grading of examinations in the digital sense. So in regard to making sure that students are who they say they are when they complete an examination, ensuring that they're not cheating or doing anything else nefarious in nature. We needed that guarantee, not just an assurance, but a guarantee for our sector that those services of digital online proctoring of examinations and grading would ensure integrity. That is going to come at zero expense to all of our colleges and universities. and it is to be utilized on an optional, as-needed basis.
So it's up to the institutions to put this in place. So for here in North Bay, Nipissing, and Canadore, those graduating students will be able to graduate if they have access to this online learning?
The continuity of their academic success can be maintained, yes, with respect to students that could be graduating, or in the alternative, even just students finishing their first year, transitioning to their second, and so forth. And in terms of it's up to the institution, yes, it's up to the institution if they want to use the service that we have secured.
Premier Doug Ford addressed the province today, announcing $12 million in funding to help Ontarians deal with the mental health strains of physical distancing and working from home. He also announced the opening of an online mental health portal for frontline workers.
A lot of what we're dealing with right now is hard on people. The new reality is hard. What we're seeing happening to our seniors in our long-term care homes, what we're seeing happening to our neighbors is hard to process. It's hard to comprehend, and it's hard to deal with. We know the sacrifices many of you have made to stay home. We know all of this is taking a toll on mental health of Ontarians. Daily routines have been broken, and the feeling of being isolated is real. We know this is very, very stressful, and we want to help. Today, we're investing $12 million to expand online virtual mental health supports for you and your family. We've partnered with incredible organizations like the Kids Helpline and Bounce Back to provide you the support you need now in a way that is safe for you and everyone around you. We also know the mental and physical strain that our frontline workers and our first responders are facing. They're working long hours. They see tragedy every single day. They're making really, really tough decisions. So we're providing dedicated therapy to help them through this challenge. On Monday, we launched a new mental health wellness program, which will provide 24/7 mental health supports to active and retired OPP personnel. We've also hired new psychologists and other mental health workers to support our men and women in uniform. We know staying home and practicing physical distancing is the right thing to do. It's what we all have to do to stop the spread of COVID-19. But it can't mean disconnecting entirely from friends, neighbors, or loved ones. Social isolation can be hard on people. And my message to everyone watching today is this: you're not alone. We're listening. We care. If you're struggling, please reach out. Talk to someone. If you know someone who may be struggling, talk to them. Pick up the phone. During these difficult days, we all need to stick together. Let's keep the Ontario spirit alive. I want to thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario.
As COVID-19 local impact continues on your TV, you'll hear from Sean Morey of the Peterborough Humane Society as he explains how they're operating during the pandemic. Welcome back to COVID-19 Local Impact. While pets with homes enjoy the company of their people, the story isn't so sweet for those up for adoption. The Peterborough Humane Society's Sean Morey speaks about how the pandemic has affected their organization, from canceled fundraisers to the stoppage of animal adoptions altogether.
business has changed exponentially. Obviously, we've had to do a lot of adjustments within our regular business, so we are closed to the public, which includes our adoptions and fostering at the moment. So from a revenue stream and an ability to adopt out animals, we are on hold right now, obviously, until at least 13th of April, based on the government's recommendations and obviously the city's recommendations, so we are doing so. We did have 2 large fundraising events that we were supposed to host in May that have both been canceled. So fundraising-wise, it's obviously a tough time, but it's a tough time for everybody, and we're just trying to make sure from a care and conditioning standpoint that our animals are in fantastic shape. They're getting a lot of enrichment, having lots of time with socialization. We have 2 animal care attendants here on a daily basis, making sure that the care, feed, health of the animals is still paramount as we go through this. You know, animals are a fantastic resource, especially when you're at home, to kind of provide you with that care and love. And you know, if people are, especially in turbulent times like this, and everybody is anxious around what's happening out in the environment, pets are a fantastic resource to you know, just to provide you with that little bit of love as everybody needs right now. One of the misconceptions is that pets can contract and carry coronavirus, which all the studies state that isn't the case. Obviously, our focus is to make sure that the pets, if they're at home, it's great for them to be at home, and obviously they're going to provide a lot more to you at home as pet owners than they are if you know, if time gets tough and stuff like that. And obviously, if things do start continue down this road and things do get tough, there will be relief efforts in place where we'll be able to provide, you know, some support as we go through this. Our friends at Laws have gone through the process of adopting and fostering out all of their animals, and you know what, we will be here to provide them with support and assistance as we kind of roll through this. You know, as they're needed, as when they reopen, if they need support, we'll be there to provide that as well. I mean, we're all in this together. We're still doing animal control for stray animals as well as abandoned animals. So, I mean, obviously our focus and our mission is to make sure that, you know, that animal health is paramount and animal wellness is paramount as we move things forward. If the residents do get into a situation where they are in dire straits or have an inability to care for their animals, we would ask them to give us a call, and we'll see what we can do to support them as we go through this. They can contact us directly at the shelter, which is 705-745-4722. Can go through the prompts and find the best resource for them possible. They can also jump on our website at peterborough-humanesociety.ca to learn more about what we're doing here. Check out our social channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well, and keep in touch with us as we go through this, and we'll make sure that we're here to help.
With places of worship closed to the public, churches of all denominations look at alternative ways for reaching out to their congregations. We speak with the Most Reverend Bishop Daniel Meem about how COVID-19 has affected the Cathedral of St. Peter in Chains.
Hosanna to the Son of David, the King of Israel.
We are in remarkable and unprecedented times, at least in the lifetimes of any of us, because given the constraints of the pandemic, the serious risks of the pandemic, it means we can't gather as we normally would as faith communities. And right now, not gathering is our greatest act of solidarity and our greatest act of charity towards others as we try to slow the spread of this virus within our society. So we're trying a lot of different ways to reach out to parishioners through social media, various kinds of internet platforms. As a diocese, individual pastors are endeavoring to do things via Facebook and other social media.
Hosanna in the highest.
Today we celebrated the Mass of Palm Sunday, the opening Mass of Holy Week, and in a fashion that I never thought I would celebrate a Palm Sunday Mass. Usually it's one of the days when we welcome large crowds to our churches who gather for the blessing of palms and the reading of the Lord's Passion. And we did all of that today. So this Mass really represents the entrance into the solemn celebrations of Holy Week, which unfold over the next few days through Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and ultimately the celebration of Easter Sunday, all of which we'll be doing, as did the early Christian community when they celebrated the first Easter, we'll be doing behind closed doors this year. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. One thing I've emphasized to the priests, and it's not that they needed me to emphasize it to them, is that they have to find ways to continue to reach out to their people. And so they've been doing that, checking in with people via phone, using various internet resources, emails, social media. So the priests are, I think most importantly, they're continuing to celebrate Mass each day and to offer the sacrifice of the Mass, bringing before God the prayerful intentions of their people. So they continue to work in a very different fashion, and they continue to reach out to their people, albeit, again, in a very different fashion during these strange times. It's very difficult to celebrate Mass before an empty house. We're used to gathering, and one of the functions of the Eucharist is to gather people around the table of the Lord, and we're not able to do that at this time. So I don't exactly know how to describe my emotions. It's a mixture, I suppose, of some sadness and bewilderment. It's some anxiety at struggling with the technology. And yet it's also, there's in me, I think, a deep sense of gratitude that our people are making real efforts to tune in and to find spiritual resources on television, on the internet. And so they're not giving up on the faith, even though they're not able to gather in these times. So it's a mixture of some very unusual emotions in what is apt to be the strangest Holy Week of my life in ministry. Peace be with you.
Your TV will bring you the Palm Sunday Mass on Sunday, April 5th at 11:30 a.m. and on April 12th, Your TV will be presenting the Easter Sunday service. To serve the residents better and answer questions they have related to COVID-19, the town of Cobourg has set up a public information hotline. Your TV Northumberland's Mark Rockburn finds out all the information from Mayor John Henderson.
As the public knows or should know, our Emergency Operation Committee meets each day, Monday through Friday. We have a team that varies from 9 upwards of 20, depending who we need to have as part of that conversation. And out of that, I want to congratulate Shanna Murphy, our emergency planner, along with Rob Franklin, who's designated in his day job. He's a manager of planning and development, but under these circumstances, he coordinates our public inquiry along with other members. And it was felt important to have an inquiry or a public information line for the town of Cobourg where citizens could call in with any inquiry. The good news, we've trained staff so that our hope is you will get a live voice to speak with from 9 till 4 p.m., 7 days a week at this point. And our hope is that we will take your inquiry, whether it's a question recently on how do I access food? How do I get deliveries? What are the hours of the food bank? We've had questions on living accommodations, assistance, how to get to essential services, what's the information on transit or the hours of transit. So it really is, the key word is public, to give the public information to those individuals. We felt it was important to do that because we did say as council and our emergency group that we would maintain open communications to the best of our ability. I believe we're doing that. A bit disappointing, but I do want to thank the 2 callers who've called in at this point. We've had 2 as of this morning, but I'm hoping once we get the number out again, and again, I'll repeat the number for those that are listening, it's 289-677-0585. Please use the number. And we're hoping by doing that, you will not be calling Northumberland Hills Hospital when they already have high needs. And we're hoping you will not call our 911 emergency number for Cobourg Police Service, because that's meant for 911 type emergencies. I'd also like to inform the public, if you're on Cobourg website, cobourg.ca, we also have Rapid Notify, and if you wish to register your information. Then anytime we have any kind of emergency, whether pandemic or flooding or else, we will notify you accordingly. And it's another way of us communicating with the citizens of Cobourg.
If an answer can't be given, does the individual on the other end, on the town side, take that information and then try to find the answer the person is looking for and get back to them?
Absolutely, that's the intent. And if it's a high enough concern, of course, they have the linkage because of Mr. Franklin being on our EOC team. It comes to Mr. Franklin, he brings it directly to our command meeting each and every morning.
With a phone number being out there in public, someone from outside of the town limits might see it and call in. What happens in those instances, or have you put something in place for someone that calls that is not a Cobourg resident?
Well, to me, if anybody can call number from wherever, this is for Cobourg citizens, but someone outside who perhaps works in Cobourg, lives in Northumberland, wishes to use the number, I would hope their call would be received and answer given accordingly.
That's all for the show today. Now I'll bring you a touching video from last night at the Peterborough Regional Health Center. 7 p.m. There was a salute to frontline healthcare workers. For your TV, I'm Dan Malta.